All right, let me see if I can put this in a little better context so the people who have the instinct to snap at this message, take a step and just take a deep breath and realize that it's okay, all right, that we're on the same team. You and I are not at odds. Okay, we both have an interest in knowledge and learning and finding out the truth, I hope. If your goal isn't the truth, then you're probably not watching this video, or if you are, you work for the NSA, so hey, cheers, peace. But in any case, the sun is the prime mover of the planet. Yep, that guy right up there. And they don't factor it into the models, all right? I used to be one of the alarmists for climate change, global warming, because that's what we were told. And it was a very convincing argument at the time, with all of your fucking teachers in high school saying the same thing, which is the globe is warming and it's because of carbon, and the only thing we can do about it is basically stop burning oil and start riding bikes and start building solar panels, and that's all good, and I have no problem with any of that. I'm a huge supporter of riding more bikes and using less fossil fuels and alternative energy. That's definitely something I've committed my life to, is the rollout of alternative energy. But if you're trying to solve a problem and you don't know what the problem is, you're gonna fail, all right? Most of the work in solving a problem is just finding out in your head what it actually is going on, and then once you know what's going on, it's a piece of cake. It takes very simple steps that are not really that stressful ultimately, but exciting and invigorating to change things, but as long as we're just chasing a freaking wild goose, right, it's gonna lead nowhere. And as long as we think that carbon is really like a prime mover status on this planet, that by increasing this like trace gas in the atmosphere, that's really what's making these huge changes in the climate, which is not just warming, but warming in some places, cooling in others, hurricanes, tornadoes, earthquakes, the works, the gamut. And I haven't seen any convincing arguments, or any at all really, to suggest that carbon dioxide leads to more earthquakes. Yeah, anybody got one? Anybody explain that? Bueller? Yeah, no. Carbon dioxide causing more earthquakes is absurd, because there's no relation whatsoever. However, the sun definitely does trigger earthquakes, or more specifically, not just looking at the sun, but understand that the earth has a shield around it, right? It's got a magnetic field, it's got a magnetosphere. And when the sun is active, it sends out all these flares and emissions, and it charges up the shield of the earth. Okay, and that's what, the earth's shield is powered by the sun from these energetic emissions. And through the later part of the 20th century, we had one of the most active suns in the last millennia. It was super active. We were just getting bombarded with all kinds of flares. And what did we have? We had an incredible warming period that undoubtedly did take place. However, the sun activity since about the new millennium has pretty much plateaued, and that is a fact. And all of the consensus models keep predicting it going up and up and up, but we haven't observed that for almost 2 decades now. 1998 was the last peak, okay? Almost 20 years, no warming. The climate's fucking changing. Like I was just saying in the greetings from the beach episode, all right? The climate's changing, but it's not just warming, right? Right here, it's okay. This is the beauty of living the van life. I mean, I know we got an apartment right now, but we'll chase the sunshine. That's why we came down here. It was frigid in Reno. Damn. And, people need to wake up and realize that these scientists are not all created equal, and ultimately the only true knowledge is what you know yourself. As long as you're quoting somebody else, you don't know a damn thing. You know what? Like, I reference other people, but I try to only reference information and apply information that I can actually, see and reflect in my own life, and that's what's real to me, all right? You want to quote some CDC and say that's the word of God, that's fine for your life, but it's not good enough for me. And same thing goes with the climatologists, all right? Climate science. This is a whole industry of science basically predicated upon government funding. And I used to, you know, completely be sold on the whole global warming hypothesis. I know all the details of what it's proposing, and I'm saying to you now that the data and the observations are not agreeing, and that their predictions are pretty much flat on their face. And unless anybody wants to come out and say, oh, but carbon dioxide can also lead to cooling, you know, in which case you've now just contradicted the fundamental premise of your entire campaign. So basically, yeah, that's it. The globe is not warming, but the climate is changing. It's because actually the sun is weakening its activity. There's evidence right now it's due, and it's looking like there's more and more evidence coming out by the day. It's looking like the sun is going into a deep low period for activity, a grand solar minimum. How's that for a band name? Right, but that's what's about to happen, is basically a very weak period of activity for the sun. What that means is the shield of Earth is getting weaker. In the last 250 years, we've seen the magnetic field of the Earth getting weaker, and actually the magnetic pole moving. It's actually, and it's moving faster and faster and faster. There's evidence that we could even see a magnetic pole reversal of planet Earth within our lifetimes. What that'll look like, well, only our ancient ancestors really know, but word on the street is shit looks a little crazy when the poles flip, and a lot of earthquakes, a lot of volcanoes, and this is really what the most plausible explanation for the spraying of the sky is. Today's been beautiful. In fact, since I started doing the orgone work here in LA, I don't know, they seem to have taken a little let up. It's definitely changed the game, and again, you guys can only know when you see it, but changing the weather ain't so far-fetched when you an Oregon warrior poet like Mango. So that's it. The sun's driving the climate change. It's going into a new grand solar minimum. That means that the Earth's magnetic field is weakening, which allows in more radiation from space. There's not just sun energy, right? There's just energy flying around in space. We're all floating in the ether like a little cell in a big aquarium that is the universe, right? It's not space. It's a viscous liquid type gas thing known as the ether, and you know, it's all electric. And yeah, let me know if I can clarify any of these points, but that's the truth as I understand it. And yeah, the whole global warming thing was great, I guess, for getting people a little motivated more about the climate, but ultimately, again, you're not going to solve a problem if you don't know what the true problem is. You're going to fail. You know, I don't want to run around chasing Mother Goose, all right? I want the golden egg. The truth. So wholeness and balanced vibrations, brothers and sisters, and we'll see you next time.